Good evening and welcome to the Money Show, the show that puts your money matters front and center. In a world full of financial noise, we are here to bring you clarity, confidence, control over your personal finances. Whether you're planning for retirement, building a portfolio, navigating debt, or just trying to make smarter money decisions, this is your space, your guide, and your weekly check-in with your wallet. Every evening, we bring you insights from top financial experts, decode the latest trends, and answer your burning questions on saving, investing, spending, and everything in between. Because here on the Money Show, we believe one thing: you don't have to be a finance expert to take charge of your money. So you just need to get the right advice, which is why we are here. So let's dive right in. And just in case you want to send across your portfolio queries, you can do that on our WhatsApp number and email ID that's flashing on the screen. So let's begin the show with a very special initiative. The beginning of the month often marks key financial activities, salary credits and bill payments and planning expenses. But just as we plan for our expenses, it's equally important to plan for our investments. To encourage this habit, SBI Mutual Fund, in collaboration with Times Network, is launching a nationwide investor awareness initiative, Bharat Nivesh, Behtar Nivesh, Behtar Kal. The objective of this initiative is to promote the habit of consistent investing among Indians, helping them secure their financial future. As part of the campaign, we are observing 4th of every month as a monthly reminder to ensure that you start your mutual fund SIP or ensure your existing SIP continues. So go on and set your reminder to invest consistently and stay committed to your goals for the financial well-being of you and your loved ones. And today, we are focusing on investing in NFOs. So basic understanding about what is an NFO, should you be the one investing in NFOs, what is the difference between investing in an NFO or IPO, what actually suits you, that's the conversation we'll be having. And with me is Shweta Jain. Shweta, hi, good evening and welcome to the show. So let's start with a very basic question that often investors, ask us. What exactly is an NFO and how is it different from an IPO?
Okay, thanks, Kavita. Thanks for having me. So NFO is a new fund offering. It's a new scheme launched by a fund house, whether it's a new fund house or an existing fund house. It's a new strategy. So, for example, if it's an equity NFO, it could be, say, specific to a large cap category. It could be specific to a sector. It could be specific to a theme. So it's something new that the fund house wants to offer to the public, which it didn't have previously.
All right. But then what's the difference when you invest in an IPO and you invest in an NFO in terms of units, in terms of pricing, in terms of exposure in the market that you get?
Okay, so and when you sign up for an IPO of a new stock or a new company, it is that company offering its shares for the first time. In an NFO of a mutual fund, this will be investing in existing stocks of companies, right? So, for example, if you have a company A coming out with an IPO, it's the first time that anybody can invest in the company A. But if mutual fund A is coming out, it will be investing in stocks that already exist, that already listed. A lot of times, people feel that because it's an NFO and it will now start offering the NAV is usually starting at 10 rupees. So people feel that if it's starting now, this is going to be cheaper than something that already exists. But it isn't necessarily like that, because just because it's starting at 10 rupees.
Absolutely. So when we invest in NFOs, Shweta, we gather units. When you're investing in an IPO, you're taking a part in a particular stock, which is more in terms of investment and in terms of exposure in equity markets.
So for example, in an NFO, if there is a sector or a theme specific NFO that has been launched, it's launched by the fund manager or the fund house for the first time, and they will give you this new strategy that you can participate in. They will be doing their own research, so they are giving you advice in a sort of fashion, and you can have specific sector or specific theme where you can invest and participate without doing too much in-depth research. When you participate in a stock IPO, for example, you will need to do that much more research. So just to give an example, if you invest say 1,000 rupees in an IPO, you will be investing in one stock. If you invest 1,000 rupees in an NFO, you will be investing in say 50 stocks, if that is what the scheme is going to offer.
True.
So your diversification will be much higher, your risk will be much lower.
All right, so I really want to understand this. Who should consider investing in an NFO? First time investor or a seasoned one?
Okay, so ideally, seasoned investors can look at NFOs, because new investors, I generally recommend them that they look at fund houses which have been there, schemes that have a good track record, schemes that have been stable for a specific period of time, at least for the last 5 years or so. So that there is a proven track record, there is stability in the portfolio already, but nothing to stop new investors from doing NFOs as well. Just that they may get misdirected, saying, it's an NFO, so it's cheaper. So I would rather they invest in older schemes than NFOs.
All right. One important hook that investors really find when they have to invest in an NFO is that 10 rupees per unit. They think it's the biggest advantage at a very low price you're getting to invest. If I just want to understand the value behind it, the maths behind it, and the importance of, that NAV that you get.
Yeah, so I think it's a great question. A lot of us feel that if something is lower in price, it is value for money, right? If it's cheaper, sasta hai, things like that. So, for example, if I were to compare two schemes, okay, two schemes with the same portfolios, wouldn't happen, but just for comparison's sake, and one has an NFO which is at 10, and the other one is say proven, so it is at 100 rupees, right? So both of them move, and they're same portfolio. So whatever the stock movement will be the same for both. Say both move 20% ahead. So you will still see 20% in your portfolio in both schemes. One may move, say, 2 rupees. One may move, say, 20 rupees, right? Depending on what their base value is. But you will see the same percentage of gain. Here you'll see 10 has moved to 12. There you will see 100 has moved to 120. Because it's 20% gain on the underlying stocks. It's not like an NFO is a stock by itself, or a scheme is a stock by itself, right? So if 10 is going to move to 12, and if 100 is going to move to 120, it's the same percentage returns, right, for you. So it doesn't really matter if it's at 10 or 100.
All right, Shweta, one important thing once again. So now, since there is no track record of the fund performance, how can investor evaluate an NFO when there is no track record of performance? And also, a lot of times what happens is the NFO comes of an existing category. A lot of AMCs already have a track record of a fund which is older. So how can you evaluate this particular decision?
Okay, so you could look at the reputation of the AMC, what kind of performance its other schemes are giving, what kind of fund management team has been there, how stable has that been, what is the cost of investments, so what kind of scheme it is, what kind of cost is it comparatively against other schemes in the same category. What is the nature of securities? Is it going to be like a more consolidated portfolio? Is it going to be more diversified portfolio, more concentrated portfolio? So a lot of these things can give investors an idea of what the fund could look like, say 6 months after they've invested. Otherwise, the initial excitement of investing could completely go for a toss if the scheme is going to be making losses in the future.
That this is what I was coming down to, risk awareness and critical aspects. So let's talk about the risk. What are the risks of investing in NFOs compared to established mutual funds or schemes?
So one is, it could be a new fund manager itself. It could be a new fund house itself. So you don't have anything to compare against. If it's a new fund manager, you could look at the pedigree, the experience of the fund manager. So that is a risk by itself. How are they going to manage the scheme? Because if they do, you would be paying for. Versus say somebody who's already already has a track record, and you're going to actually get the benefit of their experience, versus what you're going to pay for here is a learning lesson. So I think some of these things, that's why I would recommend more seasoned investor to take this chance rather than new investors, because new investors could actually get scared of something like this and move away from mutual funds itself, saying, this is not for me, where they don't realize that it is their mistake falling for a scheme that is 10 rupees or an NFO, right, which doesn't have a track record or a stable fund management in the past.
All right. Let's also understand the expense ratio part. Expense ratio after the NFO period, how much does it matter in the long run then?
So expense ratio does matter in the long run because that it sort of compounds, right? Your money compounds over time, so expenses also compound over time. So if it's a new fund offer, you will see initially that the expenses are high because it does have to set up its funds. So while they may say that initial expense ratio might be lower because of the fund size, for example, it could move higher in the future. They do have bands that are sort of accommodating to that. There could be marketing costs of the NFO initially, which will contribute to expenses. Once funds grows to a certain AUM or beyond, economies of scale will come into play. So for that matter, the expense ratio will tend to reduce because fixed costs are now, sort of distributed across a larger asset size. So some of these things you have to provide for when you're investing in an NFO.
All right, this also gets us to the end of the discussion. Thank you so much for this. But then please stay on, Shweta. It's time for a quick break, and post that, let's begin our viewers' financial planning session. Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show, and it's time to answer your portfolio queries. And with me is Shweta Jain. And just in case you have missed out our WhatsApp number and email ID, let's just flash that on the screen. And you need to send all details of your existing investments and anywhere you want any guidance, any alignment with your investment strategies and your financial goals. You want advice and tips from our experts. Do send across your questions on WhatsApp number and email ID. Shweta, welcome back. And let's take Vishal Gupta's question. Couple of funds that he's investing in: HDFC Flexi Cap 5,000 rupees SIP, Motilal Oswal Large and Mid Cap 5,000, Bandhan Small Cap 5,000 again, SBI Contra, UTI Nifty 50, 5,000 each, SIP going on. He's got 8 lakhs lump sum. Portfolio value is somewhere about 8 lakhs 40,000, and he wants to know whether the portfolio is good, and the time horizon for which he plans to invest is almost 10 years.
Okay, yeah. So Vishal's schemes are okay. The only thing I would recommend is a change from, say, SBI Contra to a mid cap fund, like an HDFC mid cap or a Motilal Oswal mid cap. I think he could always also set up a goal that will help him with his regular investing and to keep on track and see how much he can go further.
All right, next question is from Mr. Vijay Verma, and the portfolio has Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, Nippon Multi Cap, Invesco India Small Cap. Okay, 5,000 SIP in Nippon India Multi Cap, 10,000 in Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, 2,000 Invesco India Small Cap, and he wants to add 10,000 more. And for that, he wants to understand whether he should be adding a new fund or distributing that amount in the couple of funds that he already has. And he can add 10,000 to 15,000 per year, and for 15 years he wants to invest. He's right now 40 years old, and he's given the portfolio value also.
Yeah, so his portfolio is looking okay. He can look at adding a new scheme. I would say either a DSP Nifty 50 or a Motilal Oswal mid cap, depending on how much risk he's willing to take. The portfolio value at the end of the tenure that he's mentioned could be around 1 to 1.2 crores.
Mr. Atmajit's question, he's 49 years old, time horizon of investment is 10 years, portfolio value is 12 lakhs, target is 1 CR, 10,000 each SIP going on, Kotak large and mid cap, HDFC mid cap, Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, DSP small cap.
He actually has a very nice portfolio. I have to commend him for this. And he is actually right on track to meet his goal. So I think, other than saying, please continue the good work, I don't really have more advice for him on this at this point.
Okay, so so you also advise him to step up? Will he be able to achieve his goal?
He could get to a higher portfolio, but at this rate, he will get to his goal.
Okay, let's also take Satish Singh's question, and he has a 13,000 SIP going on, 10%. He's ready to step up, and target is 12 years, 1.5 CR, Motilal Oswal mid cap, HDFC mid cap, Parag Parikh flexi cap, Nippon India large cap, Canara Bank large and mid cap, Kotak multi cap, Bandhan small cap, Tata small cap, and Quant small cap. A lot of investment in small caps. You really need to diversify, and mid cap as well. But then, yeah. Any exits that you think he should be doing from his portfolio?
Yeah, I think he could cut down on the quant small cap and instead move that amount to either a Bandhan small cap or one of the other schemes that he has, the multi cap maybe. He has a lot in mid and small cap, so while it could look quite attractive in terms of returns, it could be quite volatile as well. So I would say, he has to be wary of that and careful that he doesn't exit at the wrong times. He also needs to increase his SIP to about 50,000 per month to get to his goal. He will at some point, I think, need to cut down some of the smaller schemes as the portfolio grows larger, but I think that we could look at a later point.
All right, let's move on and let's take Amit's question. Amit Kumar Pathak, and he is 35 years old, government employee, and 20,000 rupees is what he's able to save, and he's been doing his SIP in HDFC mid cap, Nippon India small cap, Motilal Oswal Nifty India Defense Index Fund, Parag Parikh flexi cap. He's been investing in Parag Parikh flexi cap since last 3 months, Motilal Defense passive fund last 1 year, and last 2 years HDFC mid cap and Nippon India small cap. So that's the duration. 15 years he thinks that he'll be investing for. 2 CR is what his portfolio aim is with these funds.
So Amit will need to invest at least 40,000 per month to get to his goal. The schemes are fine, but there are sectoral or thematic funds in the portfolio which will make it a little more sort of volatile. I would say adding a UTI Nifty 50 or a DSP Nifty 50 will help him create a bit of a core portfolio that won't be as volatile as some of these sectoral schemes. But otherwise, the portfolio is looking good.
All right, so the portfolio looks good, and with that, I think it's a wrap. Thank you so much, Shweta, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their portfolio queries. And for our viewers, thank you so much for watching. All you have to do is just send across your questions on our WhatsApp number and email ID. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.